Okay, what we're going to do is I have posted this disease on Protist on Plus Portal, so you probably want to copy it off. And what we're going to do is we're going to take two at a time. I can only talk for about 8 to 10 minutes because over that the file gets too large to actually post to YouTube. After we go over the first four, what I want you to do for homework is to take one of your diseases and research it on the internet in your own words. I want you to write me a paragraph or two about one of the particular diseases and hopefully give me some information that we don't have here. You are going to have to like or comment on each video. That lets me know that you have seen it. That way I can take roll for the day. If I don't receive your work, then you're going to get a 0 for the day. And that's just how we're going to have to keep up with attendance. So let's take the first two and then we'll take the second two. All right. The first disease that can be given to you by a protist is called amoebic dysentery. Now, the organism, now this is not bacteria or virus, so this is a living organism, is Entamoeba histolytica. That's a scientific name. Now, protists are living organisms, so they all have scientific names. Amoeba tells you that this is a single-celled organism that actually you can get from either eating contaminated food or water. If you eat it or drink it, like we have said in the past, you are going to have digestive issues such as vomiting, diarrhea. The diarrhea tends to be bloody. This is an amoeba that can also cause rapid weight loss. It's not self-limiting. You are going to have to seek help for this generally because people do tend to become dehydrated, and then when that happens from the diarrhea and vomiting, you're going to have to go to the doctor and get some fluids. This is a very common amoeba to pick up if you travel to Mexico and you drink their water. In some other countries, I'm not picking on Mexico, but I've had an experience of a friend going to Mexico and drinking the water. They have this particular protist in their water, so it's in their system. And when they drink their water, they don't get sick. But here in America, we filter our water before we release it into the Mississippi. And so we don't have this protist in the water, therefore our water is purified, and when we drink water that's contaminated, we get very sick. Also, this is a very common amoeba to pick up if you eat bagged salads that have not been washed. Amoeba very often can be passed through a contaminated batch of lettuce. So even if you're eating lettuce that says pre-washed, please wash it again, because sometimes when you get these organisms, it's hard to kill them. You're not going to be able to take an antibiotic and you're not going to be able to take an antiviral because they don't fall into that category. And this is a living organism living inside you that's a living organism. So they're very hard to get rid of. A lot of times the medication that they give you for these actually hurts you too because you're trying to get rid of something living inside of something else that is living. So make sure you pay attention to your salads, especially. Make sure that they are clean, that the water isn't contaminated when you drink it. Okay, giardiasis. This is Giardia lamblia. Now you might want to write these, and because you're going to have to spell them correctly, and because I have them in italics, you can't write in italics, so you have to underline them. Don't forget about your rules for scientific naming. This is also one that you get from contaminated water. Now over to the right, I have cramps, nausea, and vomiting, but I also want you to put sulfur belching, belching, because people that pick up Giardia from the contaminated water, one of the first things that happens is they start burping, but it's not just a burp, it's a belch, and their breath smells like sulfur because one of the byproducts of this particular protist is sulfur, and so you smell that from their breath. You can get this from swimming in a contaminated lake. You don't really have to drink the water when you're in a lake. It's very common for it to get on your lip, and then you may lick your lip and it can gain entry that way. And this one also can cause you to lose weight in a very, very short period of time. A lot of people with this one hallucinate. They don't know where they are before they start burping and belching, but then they get disoriented. They run fever. They get very lethargic. The vomiting and the nausea can go on for a couple of weeks. It is not self-limiting. With Giardia, you are going to have to seek treatment. There was a kid recently that went on a triathlon through Brazil, and he went through some streams, and he actually contracted Giardia. And in a week and a half, he lost close to 70 pounds. So this is not something that is going to be easy on your stomach by any stretch. He also thought that he was in the Wizard of Oz, and he kept clicking his heels trying to go home. They did seek help for him, and by the time he got help and got home, he was quite thin, and he had been hallucinating the whole time. So giardiasis is the disease. The organism is Giardia lamblia. That has to be underlined.